Okay, you guys, I've been having some issues with sunscreen. I haven't been liking any of the sunscreens that I use. I have been liking my sunscreen eye cream. It's Soleil Toujours, and you know what? I think I'm just gonna buy their sunscreen too. But it is an eye cream with SPF in it, and you know what? I think this combined with I put healing ointment on my eyes at night. I think these two things combined, they are what's lightening the dark circles under my eyes because I'm not getting the sun. I'm not getting the sun damage there. I do often wear my glasses outside, and I think the magnifying effect causes hyperpigmentation under the eyes. I think that's really what's happening. Anyway, this sunscreen slash eye cream though, this is probably one of the best eye cream purchases I've ever made. I have eye cream on my eyelash. Here are 6 small books that I enjoyed immensely, and I think you'll enjoy too. Anyway, so let's get into these books real quick because y'all, I gotta go. So I'm hungry and I need some coffee. So I have a total of 6 books and I'm just gonna go through them really quickly. So the first one is 84 Charing Crossroad by Helen Hanff. This is nonfiction. It is a series of letters written between a lady in America and a bookseller, a man at the Marks and Company booksellers in the UK. He's in England, London, and they correspond from 1950 to 1970. So you kind of get a great snapshot of that 20-year time period through their letters. It does have a bittersweet moment in it that I definitely have to warn you about because it will almost break your heart. It will tug at your heartstrings. Overall, it's a really good read. It's a really good insight into the two people and, like I said, the time frame where they were writing. The book itself was published in 1970, but of course they started their correspondence in the 50s. So you do have to kind of remember that it was a different time. Bear that in mind. Some things may not sit well with some people, but for the most part, it's a really enjoyable read. You know, if you're nosy like me, you get a peek inside someone's private life to a certain extent, but it's nothing raunchy or anything like that. Really, the majority of the correspondence is about the books, but it's a nice snapshot of the time. The next book is Giovanni's Room. I think almost everybody has read this book by James Baldwin. I just love this book because of how James Baldwin wrote. He wrote lyrically, beautifully, and he tells this story. And it just gets inside you, and you care about these characters and you feel for these people in the book. And this one rips your heart out too. I find that most of these books, like, they tear you to pieces in most of these books in 200 pages or less, like just savage. This is a story set in 1950s Paris. There's some themes around sexuality when being gay was not legal. And you get an insight into these people's private lives again, and it's again like you're a fly on the wall, but it is heart-wrenching, and James Baldwin just does so well. This is my first and only James Baldwin book that I've read, so I have now purchased Coachella on the Mountain, and that is on my TBR because for years and years and years I've heard about James Baldwin, and for whatever reason I never read his books. And I guess, you know, as an American, and I guess importantly as an African American, it's probably something you should do. At least that's what people tell me. I will say this is probably one of the most human writers I've ever read. And as a human, we could all benefit from James Baldwin's work. So here's a great opportunity to think beyond color. It's a great opportunity to think beyond sexuality, think beyond gender, think beyond age as well. It's just a wonderfully written book, and I recommend it highly. Simple Passion. This is a very short book. I listened to it in an hour on Audible on my way to a massage and then thought about it the whole time. It is basically a 64-page book about an affair from the side chick's point of view. I mean, that is bringing it down to the basis of ways of describing it. It is lyrical. It is beautiful. It is it tugs at your heartstrings too. I did feel empathy for this character. But also it was just a wow for me, like listening to it. And then I bought the first edition. This book was published in France in 1991 by Annie Erneaux, who is also the Nobel Prize winner for The Years, which is her memoir. She won a Nobel Prize recently for that book, and now she's much older. She wrote this one in 1991, and then I have the first translation of it, 1993, which is 31 years later. My daughter is 31, okay? That's how old this book is. But I bought it because I wanted it in my library. I will probably read it again. I want to actually physically read it. I don't know that I will annotate it because it's already a 31-year-old book. I want to kind of keep it this way. But, girl, this woman just pours out her feelings, just pours them out on the page, honey. And when I tell you, I was like, wow. And it's from, like I said, the side chick's point of view. So, I guess technically side chicks, I got you. Never thought I'd say that. Next book, Address Unknown. This one will probably just piss you off. It will make you want to fight the air, but it is so good. This is a correspondence between two former business partners that lived in San Francisco. Right when the Nazi era was taking hold of Germany, well, one of the business partners is German and one is Jewish, and one went back to Germany. And this is their correspondence. I do love to read correspondence. I used to love to write letters. And one of these days, I think I want to revive that because it's a lost art. But this is 78 pages between these two gentlemen who were former friends who called themselves brother. Okay? They called themselves brother. And they did not end up being brothers by the end of this. And it's so sad. And it's so sad. And it just ripped my heart out. Again, like authors, they can tear you up. 64 pages. 64 pages, and I had to take a nap. Now, this is fiction, unlike 84 Charing Road. This is fiction. And man, when I tell you, oh my gosh, it's just like, it's a snapshot of that time. It was written in 1936, I do believe, 36 or 32, but in the 30s. So even before World War II. And just the sentiments that were taking hold at the time. And, you know, people couldn't believe that this was actually happening, but baby, it was happening, okay? And the way that it ended, it's just like, oh, really? I mean, we know the big outcome, but the way that the story ended and the fact that it was written during that time, like, paints a picture of what things were like during that time. Also, the author is a woman, and this was initially published in a newspaper. So during that time, like, this was very controversial. And I think that it really is something that people living now should kind of read just to get a grasp of the entire history. Because a lot of the times we focus on one aspect of history and we don't see the other aspects of history. If you're really truly a citizen of the world and you really truly believe in global equality and all those things, it's probably a good idea to really examine the big picture, not just the parts they show you on social media. Second to the last book, Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. This one got all up inside me. I love this book. This one got all up inside me, got me in my feelings, because people should just let people live. Leave people alone. Mind your own business. Can y'all do that? Mind your own business, okay? This woman, she just wanted to be a cashier at a convenience store. Like, she graduated high school. She didn't know what she wanted to do with her life. Then she figured it out. Like, I'm a cashier at a convenience store. I'm going to go to work every day. I'm going to go home. I'm going to live my life. She was happy with her life, but outside pressures wanted her to do other things. And that's when the problem started. Everything was fine. She was living her life, minding her business, but the other people couldn't mind their business. And so then they caused this woman all this strife and all this grief. It don't make no sense. Leave people alone. That's the moral of this story. And I 100% agree. I really enjoyed this book. And I just wanted to hug the main character at the end and be like, girl, go live your life the way you want to live your life. tell everybody else to kick rocks. The last book was 160 pages. I found it at a book event at a clothing store, a new clothing store here in the area, and I absolutely love this book. This is a 6 out of 5 stars for me, 10 out of 10. If I could give it more, I would. It's called Waiting for Bojangles by Olivier Bourdeaut, and it is from 2 different points of view. It's from a child's point of view and from his father's point of view, and some of it reads in rhyme, which it took me a while, y'all. I'm so embarrassed to say, to figure that part out, but some of it reads in rhyme, and it's a very different book. I've never read anything written quite like this, but you get the 2 different points of view, and it's about a family who tries to be normal in the face of mental illness, and it is gut-wrenching. Just destroyed my world in 160 pages. Little books can tear you apart. They're like little pills. You ever notice the smaller the pill, the more potent? That is these books. I highly recommend them all. I really, really enjoyed them. And I'm actually loving little books because, not so much because I want to read a bunch of books by the end of the year. I have a 25 book reading goal this year, which is very small in the big scheme of things. I just like when a story, I can get into the story, you tell me the story, we do all the things, and then the story's over. I like that. So I do tend to read a lot of smaller books. But you know what? The authors, hey, I'm almost ready. I'm almost ready. The authors have, you look so cute. The authors really have to be good writers to tell you such juicy stories in such a small amount of pages. And I just love that for me. I love that I love these small books. Now, you give me a book of short stories and I might toss it out the window. I can't do just short stories for some reason, not short story collections, but a small book any day, every day. All right, if you've read any of these, let me know down in the comments how you like them. And if you plan on reading any of these, also let me know as well. And, you know, like and subscribe and do all of the things, because that's how I can make more of these videos, and that's how I can engage with you. All right, you guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.